All right, good morning, guys. We are live. Crypto info, blockchain made easy with Frank the Crypto Tank. Today's episode is up on the board here. Almost lost it in my chair. Today's episode, Quant and XRP, the connection. What's going on? We don't hear it talked about a lot. Blessed microphone. We don't hear it talked about a lot. What is going on with this connection? I don't know. I was going to say, why is it not talked about? But we're not going to cover that in the episode today. We're going to cover 4 key talking points. Quant Network and ISO 20022 interoperability. We're going to discuss XRP and ISO 22. People like to say, I say 20022, 20022, whatever, compliance. Also, quantum resistance in crypto, and also QFS. What the quantum financial system is. So let's start very quickly with, actually first, let's get to our quick, there we go. Our quick cryptocurrency market rocking the house at 3.68 trill. Fear and greed just about into 70. Crypto market rocking 69 on the fear and greed index here. Cryptocurrency market cap in at 3.68 trill. I should do that each time so it's easy to see. What I'm referring to here is the Bitcoin price, 117,456 per Bitcoin. We've got XRP up 25.20% on the week. And XRP is at $2.78. Try to make that thing large. There we go. We can do with that. Don't forget Caleb and Brown. And don't forget the link down below for Caleb and Brown, because you can check them, check out what they do and see how they provide a solution that is different from the other options that are out there. And you're just going to have to see. I'll give you the basics. It's a crypto brokerage. 24/7. You get your own crypto broker. They don't commingle your funds. They keep them one-to-one backed. You have 24/7 access, like I said, to your broker, and they use Fireblocks institutional grade custody, so your funds are safe and secure. And I need to hit the finer points, because this is what the other exchanges don't have. The other options, on and off ramps. This is a brokerage. But they scour 14 different liquidity providers to get you the best price on your crypto when you go to sell. And also, you can set limits. You can take off as much as you like each day. It's a great thing. Caleb, you'll find out. Check it if you're interested. Now, let's just play this quick thing so we understand actually what Quant is. Should have volume.
The Quant Network isn't sexy. It won't stream your videos, explore the metaverse, or earn a huge returns when you stake its currency. But it does make it possible for all kinds of distributed ledger networks, including blockchains, to work together in harmony. Right now, blockchains are mostly private islands. For 2 of them to share information, one side or the other has to build a bridge. Quant's Overledger operating system promises to change all of that by interconnecting the crypto universe in the same way that TCP/IP protocol created the internet out of the chaos of disconnected networks. Quant Crypto is the brainchild of cybersecurity expert Gilbert Verdian, who has spent decades working with multiple governments and private sector firms. Verdian realized long ago that blockchains could solve numerous security problems inherent in global information exchange, but that the space could soon become fragmented into competing networks, each with unique strengths and limits. So he developed Overledger, the world's very first multiple blockchain operating system. Sitting in between networks and the applications that run on them, Overledger makes it possible to run multi-chain applications, or MDApps. The quant coin QNT is used to validate transactions that access the Overledger software. There's a fixed supply of 14.6 million, and only 6% were given to the development team. In spite of 2022's overall bearish crypto market, the QNT token saw some positive action in the second half of 2022 due to new developments. First, there was a major Overledger upgrade that significantly improved performance on Ethereum and added an NFT token standard. There was also the introduction of Overledger Tokenize. This new feature lets developers create digital assets that are interoperable on the Polygon, Ethereum, and XDC network. Meanwhile, more and more networks are adopting Overledger. In 2021, Quant worked with more than 300 institutions, including heavy hitters like Oracle and Amazon Web Services. Quant has also partnered with MIT University, Intel, and the US State Department to develop the Open Digital Asset Protocol, which defines how digital assets are used across multiple distributed ledger networks. All this activity could boost demand for the QNT token, which becomes deflationary as more of them are locked up by MDAP developers. In the long term, the Quant Network's Overledger operating system could be the key to a new generation of multi-blockchain applications.
Thanks for watching, everyone. We've got a lot more videos for you, so click any of these videos so you can keep watching. And don't forget to like if you liked it. And
Pretty cool. Okay, so then let's get back to business here concerning our topic today with Quant. Now that you have a little background on what Quant is, you know what XRP is. We've covered that, and we're going to continue to on the channel. Here's the deal: Quant's Overledger or OS is it's Overledger operating system, or OS, is built for interoperability between blockchains and legacy financial systems, including ISO 20022 compliant messaging. While direct citations weren't pulled before, when I pulled this up, just so you know, cross-border transactions, it enables this as well. There's we can get into that, but we're not going to now, as far as what happens with Quant and how it performs that, which supports integration of ISO 20022 compliant assets like XRP. But there is a connection between, and also HBAR moves value as well. There are certain coins that, I don't know if people are aware, there are a bunch of these that don't work exactly like XRP, but they move value very similarly. Ripple, XRP, and ISO 20022 compliance. RippleNet and XRP are designed with ISO 20022 messaging capabilities in mind already. Yep. Quantum resistance is our third point to bring up. There's a little bit of research on this, just a little. But as far as how it helps XRP, let me just, so you have quantum resistant cryptography. I'm trying to keep this stuff simple, as there's some technical stuff here, but post-quantum security is rapidly growing field, and current strategies across ISO 20022 coins involve lattice-based encryption, hash-based signatures, and multivariate polynomial cryptography. So it's likely to be evaluated in partnerships with central banks and ISO 20022 standard bodies. When I mention technical terms like that, especially a multivariate polynomial cryptography, or hash-based signatures and things, people are like, why would I ever in the world want to know that? Well, the reason why is because it's like because it's considered when the central banks and ISO standard bodies are looking at it. That's why it matters. So in our research to see whether or not it's one that makes sense and we want to purchase, we do need to get that deeply into the minutia and actually know that it performs that function, those functions, or not. has those capabilities or not. That's why we're talking some really, really, really technical data sometimes, guys. Technical talk. So this is the world of crypto. Number 4 is QFS, or quantum financial system. You know what I mean? Like I know it sucks, but it just, yeah. Some of this stuff's really technical. You just got to bear with me. It's all right. We got this thing. We can do it. The term quantum financial system is largely absent from peer-reviewed or institutional research. Yeah. I don't really want to be talking about the quantum financial system. Well, I mean, those are our key points. There's not, I know the episode, you'd be like, that's the episode. I mean, that's what we have on this, you know. They're not talking a lot about it. These two, I don't believe, here, let's see, maybe I can get deeper on this one. Let's see, hang on one sec. Well, okay. I'm pulling up an abstract on this. Financial technology, or fintech, the field of utilizing technology to provide financial solutions, grew hugely in popularity in 2014. Within 1 year, from 2014 to 2015, fintech startups increased significantly, and traditional financial solutions opened new fintech services, with investments ranging from 12 to 197 bill in such a period of growth and innovation. Quantitative finance garnered attention from industry players and consumers and has not stopped since. Well, guys, I have one more thing here to get to for us, which is something that a friend of mine showed me yesterday, which is not related to today's episode, but that's okay. Charles Hoskinson on Mr. Sean Ryan's show. And let's check out what we've got here.
Does quantum computing, would that make cryptocurrency irrelevant?
No. So basically how a quantum computer works is it's an augmentation of classical computing, not a replacement of it. So the way I like to explain a quantum computer is, imagine that you meet a really hot girl and she wants to give you her number, but she's kind of a bitch. So she's like, all right, I wrote my number in this library over there inside one of the books. You walk in the library, there's millions of books. And you're like, oh, fuck you. So she's legit. She wrote her number in there, but like, how do you find the number? So a classical computer, how that would work is that you would just start at one of the bookshelves, you take each book off and you flip through all the pages and see if you find the number. Now, if you want to speed it up, there's 2 ways you can speed it up. You can speed it up sequentially, meaning that you speed up the rate at which you flip through the books, or in parallel. And in parallel, you get your friends to go and help look through. So maybe you have 5 guys come, so you and 5 other guys are flipping through books. Now you have 6 cores running. And if you want to sequentially, that's your clock rate. You speed it up. So for a long, long time, since the 30s, when we first started talking about these things, to today, that's been the paradigm of computing, is either speed up the clock rate or make it more parallel, and find algorithms that can do that. Quantum computing is fundamentally different. What it does is it says, okay, here's what we're going to do. We have 3 things. We're going to do superposition. So we're, instead of looking through the books, we're going to have this magical way of taking all the books off the shelves and put them in a superposition state. And then we have interference and entanglement. And these properties allow us to, relatively speaking, know the location, the rough location of where that book is. Then we'll put them all back on the shelves, but the area that has the number, we're going to pull those books out slightly. So you still have to do the classical thing. You still have to go and open the book and read through the pages. But now, instead of blindly going through and looking at all the different possibilities, you know the rough area that you want to go to. So you go over there, you pull that book off, and lo and behold, the number's there. Get laid. Congratulations. Life is good. So that's quantum computing in a nutshell. And if you look at a lot of things that we do, you are trying in computing to stumble upon the right answer. Like flight scheduling. You're just like, well, how do I figure out this flight so that I can have a layover of this property in Atlanta and this, and this? But there's all these other things going on, and it turns out it's like an NP problem. It's super hard to actually schedule a flight. But if you have a quantum computer, it can kind of look at all the art of the possible and at least give you a sense of where a probabilistic minimum is, so to minimize the layover time or whatever your objective is. Or in the case of large language models, so like ChatGPT or any of these AI things, what you'll do is you'll say, okay, well, there's outputs that come out of these models. Well, which one of the outputs is the right output? You'll ask it a question. You'll be like, I need to know, I'm going to be in DC for the weekend, and here are all my parameters, and I'm looking for a good restaurant, and which one's a good one? And so they'll have maybe 50 recommendations that come through. And some are obviously wrong, like one's in Virginia or one's in Maryland or something, and one's really in DC, but it's too expensive or something like that. So ordinarily what you'd have to do is you'd have to create some sort of system that's intelligent to look through all those different things. And a human being has to write that, a programmer, or you personally have to look at the outputs and say, oh, no, that's wrong, that's wrong. With a quantum computer, you basically get to look at all the outputs, just like all the books at the same time. And then it can show you which one of those answers is right. Remember, it could be millions of them. It's the qubit range. And so, once you start getting up in qubits, you can do this arbitrarily many. And so what this does is it gives you the ability to have a large language model that's exponentially better than a large language model that we have today. And it gets really crazy when you start stacking modalities. Like Microsoft has a technology called MatterNet. And it's a simulation framework. It's almost like Reality Builder, where you just tell it what properties you want. Like, I want a battery, and I want these properties. And it basically gives you a recipe for how to make that molecularly. But the problem is that the simulation breaks down after you start modeling maybe 20, 30 electrons. So with a quantum computer, it doesn't have that limitation. You can look at many, many, many different bonding paths and things. So it literally can print out how to make that material that's magical. And so you could start talking about, like, let's say I want a Black Hawk helicopter, and I want the skin to have what's called a negative refractory index material so it can go invisible, and I want it to be light but super strong, and I want it to be self-healing, so if I run an electrical current, the stress fractures heal themselves so I don't have to replace the airframe. And then also I want it to be non-Newtonian so that it's soft, but when it gets hit by a bullet, it gets super hard, like a football helmet or something like that. And it'll tell you literally the recipe for how to make that strange exotic alloy, with all these different properties. You can't do that with a classical computer because there's too many possibilities, and it's like a library with more books than the time in the universe to look at. But with a quantum computer, it can look at all of them at the same time. So it'll tell you the path to get to that and this specific recipe. Because right now how we figured out is just math and trial and error. You go to a lab and you kind of do some stuff and you think, I think it's over here. And then you do a bunch of experiments until you stumble across the material. And everything works this way. It's like this microphone, what would give it the best sound? Or like a battery, I want it to have a high energy density, and I want it to be very light, and I want it to charge really fast.
It goes on and on. So interesting. Such an interesting guy. Such interesting technologies. So interesting, by the way, of course, is QNT. It's a mover and a shaker. She goes fast. Look at that. All-time high of $428.38. Never financial advice on the channel. I am not a financial advisor, but pretty impressive. The old Quant. Wow. Unbelievable. Okay, well, guys, we appreciate you tuning in today to our episode on Quant and XRP. We can do more on this, and I can see if I can dig up more. I know it was not very substantial, not a very, there wasn't a lot of meat in this episode because they're quite plainly, I didn't find a lot on it, but I'm going to dig because I know that there is going to be quite a bit on this. I only want real, I don't want a lot of speculative stuff, but I think I'm going to have to go the speculative on this because there's not a lot. that's out there. But anyway, I hope you guys have a lovely day, and we appreciate you tuning in today to Crypto Info. Blockchain made easy with the Tank, and don't forget to tap that like and subscribe down below, and check the Caleb link, and we will see you in our next live episode. And I'm not sure we have a video coming out today. I'm gonna have to take a peek, but keep an eye out for another video coming out. Thanks. See you guys.